Have you ever laid awake at night, replaying a conversation over and over in your mind, wondering if you said the wrong thing? That mental loop is something millions of people experience, known as overthinking. And surprisingly, it may come from one of the brain's most important survival abilities. The human brain is constantly trying to predict the future. Every experience, every conversation, every small mistake becomes information it can use to improve the next time. So when something feels uncertain or socially uncomfortable, the brain sometimes starts replaying the moment. It analyzes what happened, what you said, how someone reacted, and what you might do differently in the future. In many ways, overthinking is the brain trying to protect you by learning from the past. But the same system that helps us learn can also trap the mind in endless loops of thought. Psychologists call this process rumination. Instead of solving a problem and moving on, the brain keeps returning to the same memory again and again. One thought leads to another and another, until the mind becomes caught in a chain reaction. A single moment from earlier in the day can suddenly grow into dozens of imagined possibilities. What if I said the wrong thing? What if they misunderstood me? What if that moment changes how they see me? The reason these thoughts feel so powerful may come from one of the brain's oldest survival systems. For most of human history, our survival depended heavily on belonging to a group. Being rejected by the tribe could mean losing protection, food, or safety. So the brain evolved to pay extremely close attention to social mistakes. In other words, overthinking may be the brain's way of trying to make sure we stay connected to others. But not everyone experiences overthinking in the same way. Some people can let a moment pass and move on quickly, while others find their minds returning to the same thought again and again. Part of this difference may come from how sensitive the brain is to uncertainty and social signals. For some minds, small details stand out more strongly. A tone of voice, a pause in conversation, a brief expression on someone's face. The brain begins trying to interpret what those signals might mean. Was something wrong? Did I misunderstand something? Should I have said something differently? And interestingly, these thoughts often appear most strongly at night. When the day slows down and the world becomes quiet, the brain finally has space to process everything that happened. Without distractions, unfinished thoughts can rise to the surface. Moments that seemed small during the day suddenly feel much larger in the silence of the night. But there's an important detail about overthinking that often gets overlooked. The brain isn't trying to make you anxious. In many cases, it's trying to solve a problem. The mind searches through memories and possibilities, hoping to find a better answer for the future. But sometimes, the search for the perfect answer keeps the mind moving in circles. And the more we try to control every possible outcome, the more those thoughts begin to multiply. Overthinking doesn't happen because the mind is broken. In many ways, it happens because the mind is doing its job. The human brain is one of the most powerful prediction systems in the natural world. It constantly imagines possibilities, compares outcomes, and searches for better ways to navigate the future. But when that system turns inward, the search for answers can become endless. The mind begins revisiting the same moment again and again, hoping that somewhere inside the memory, a better answer might appear. Yet most of the time, the moment has already passed, and the future we're trying to predict hasn't happened yet, which means the mind is searching for certainty in a place where certainty rarely exists. Perhaps overthinking isn't something we eliminate entirely. Perhaps it's something we learn to recognize as the mind trying, in its own complicated way, to protect us. The mind will always search for answers, but not every thought needs to be followed. Sometimes the most helpful thing we can do is simply let the thought pass.